Today we're talking about building a business brick by brick. So whenever it comes to things that you need to do, sometimes the way that you execute is in sprints. This is how it works for me, and I imagine this is how it works for many people. There's a timeline, there's metrics we have to meet, there's goals. This is a great way to orient ourselves, and we can do that within the metaphor of building bricks. Now, if you're gonna stack bricks, you should stack them bottom to up. You know, like you don't want to try to lay a brick right here if there's not a brick right here. You know what I mean? And so having the discretion to recognize how do I build foundation here such that we're not scaling too quickly or growing too quickly, growing the team too quickly, or building something that doesn't need to be built yet. Building new features before getting users, etc., etc. This is the thing. If you make foundation, then you make systems. And if the systems are in place, then it's kind of like jumping off of concrete rather than jumping off of sand. You're not going to get as much leverage if there's not a strong foundation. Foundation is made of systems. I know I keep repeating the same shit over and over, but you do it from a different perspective. You do it from a different lens. You look at things a little bit differently because things are multidimensional. And if you have too much of a limited perspective on certain things, then you'll have blind spots. And as you build, you'll build what you think is a beautiful sculpture just to find out that you take 3 steps to the side and look at it from a different perspective, and the shit's ugly as hell and falling apart. And if the shit's ugly as hell and falling apart from a different perspective, then what does that say about your competency as the sculptor? So this is why I like to understand things from a number of different perspectives, and I like to reiterate them using a number of different metaphors. This past week has been a sprint, okay? So this past week for me has been a brick, a big brick. And the thing is that throughout this past week, there have been a number of small bricks that the bricks are built up by smaller bricks. So there have been a number of smaller bricks that I've had to stack together and cement together in order to make a big brick. Come to find out, if we look at what I have done over the past week, I've made the content distribution system, which is its own brick. It is a system of a bunch of different components that have been cemented into place that I can now use this big brick to build, to start building, to start all over again. Do you see what I'm saying? And it is through this approach that it is made clear why systems are so important. You have all of these little bricks that make a big brick. And then this big brick is one of these little bricks for a bigger system, a bigger scaling system. Due to the content distribution system that I built this week, I'm able to take a breath. I've reached the finish line. You know, I was wired in some earlier videos. Dude, I was stressed. I was in the middle of a sprint. I was sprinting. And so now, we're at the end of the sprint, the content distribution system. Okay, cool. Let me take a breather. Let's rest for a second. Collect my thoughts. Great. Now, I can keep it pushing forward. We can start the next leg of the race. The next leg of the race for me is the next 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks look like getting my consumer app, fixing all the bugs, getting it to the App Store within 2 weeks. It should be live. It should be live. We should have an iteration of the app that is live on the App Store. I don't see why I don't see why we shouldn't. So I'm throwing that out there. And here we end. 3, 2, 1, go. Peace.